Imagination is neither the language of nature nor the language of man, but both at once, the medium of communion between the two, as if the birds, unable to understand the speech of man, and man, unable to understand the songs of birds, yet longing to communicate, were to agree on a tongue made up of sounds they both could comprehend. The voice of running water, perhaps, or the wind in the trees. Imagination is the elemental speech in all senses, the first and the last, of primitive man and the poets. In a kind of vision that were experienced by black elk and that revered by Native Americans, the kind that inspire artists and rebels, the visionary encounter, the strange, the unexplainable, mysterious forces that define life. And visionary language speaks, as poets and rebels do, only in abstractions and allegory. It is the language of sublime madness. Chants, work songs, spirituals, the blues, poetry, dance, and art converged under slavery to nourish and sustain the imagination. For the arts, the blues, the spirituals, the jazz, the dance was what we had in place of freedom. Ralph Ellison wrote. It was sublime madness that permitted African Americans such as Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Fannie Lou Hamer to resist during slavery and Jim Crow. It was sublime madness that maintained the defiance of Sitting Bull and Black Elk as the lands were seized, the people were slaughtered, and their cultures and means of existence were decimated. The oppressed, for they know their fate, would be the first to admit that, on a rational level, it is absurd to think that it is only through the imagination that they survive, but they know that it is true. It was sublime madness that allowed the survivors in the Nazi death camps to hold on to the sacred. Jewish inmates in Auschwitz reportedly put God on trial for their Holocaust. They condemned God to death. A rabbi stood after the guilty verdict to lead the evening prayer. Ultimately, the artist and the revolutionary function as they function, and pay whatever dues they must pay behind it, because they are both possessed by a vision, and they do not so much follow this vision as find themselves driven by it. Otherwise they could never endure, much less embrace the lives they are compelled to lead.